Thank you, Gus. Welcome to Norman, Oklahoma. Over 80,000 strong at Pack Memorial Stadium. It's homecoming here at OU, where the 16th ranked Oklahoma Sooners take on the Jayhawks of Kansas. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Custer alongside my partner Petros Papadakis. And Petros, OU and Bob Stoops looking to remain unbeaten in the Big 12 and go 5-0, something they haven't done since 2004. Meanwhile, David Beatty and the Kansas Jayhawks still looking for that signature win.
They're still trying to find it, and Kansas is going to have a tough time finding it in this environment at homecoming, but there's no doubt that they're a growing football team and getting better for Coach Beatty. Oklahoma, on the other hand, that's a tough way to start with the 2 losses, but they've gotten their bearings about them, and they have some of the most explosive and fun offensive players we've seen in this conference in a while. Yeah, the Sooners certainly stubbed their toe earlier in the season when they dropped 2 of their first 3 games, but all of a sudden, they've now rolled off 4 straight wins, thanks in large part to their offense and 3 of the most dynamic players in the country at the skill position. That's the truth. We can't stop talking about them, and last week was record-breaking for all 3. The numbers are insane, and so was Baker Mayfield. This is a guy who started out the season holding on to the ball a little too much, but now he's become very accurate, moves in the pocket beautifully, great attitude and enthusiasm. This is my favorite, Joe Mixon, unbelievable one-stop shop at back. He can throw it, he can catch it, he can return it, and man, can he run it. They pull guards, and he gets behind his pads and really punishes people. And if you pay too much attention to Mixon and roll a safety down, then D.D. Westbrook, who's also having a career year, can hurt you. He's only about 25 pounds below 200, but he makes up for his lack of weight with a lot of explosiveness on the edge. Love to watch these guys. Now, Kansas hasn't won a Big 12 game in 2 years now, but David Beatty is changing the culture in Lawrence. He certainly has done it defensively, and offensively, he believes he's finally found his quarterback in Montel Cozart. They think they have him, and he looks better. Cozart's healthier than he has been in a long time, and he moves a lot better than he had earlier in the season. We saw him moving the pocket, finding his explosive receivers on the outside last week at home against Oklahoma State. I'd like to see him get behind his pads a little bit more and run the ball. I think that's an unexplored part of his skill set. He's going to have to use it here tonight in Norman. Bob Stoops, well, he is 11-0 against the Jayhawks as OU's head coach. It's homecoming here at Norman. The 16th ranked Boomer Sooners take on the Rock Chalk Jayhawks. The kick is next. FS1 College Football is presented by Verizon. Kansas taking on 16th ranked Oklahoma. We're in Norman. Here's a look at Kansas head coach David Beatty, his 2nd season as head coach of the Jayhawks. And there's no doubt he's got the culture headed in the right direction, but when things are as down as they were at Kansas, especially under Charlie Weiss, there's a lot to rebuild, and small victories is what Kansas has counted. And Bob Stoops, the longest tenured FBS head coach right now in the country. Of course, he's led the Sooners to a school record 17 consecutive bowl berths and 9 Big 12 titles. He's one of the best, there's no doubt about that, and he has built a real dynasty here in Norman. Let's get right to the Ford's keys to the game here, Petro. Well, look at KU. Just don't be overwhelmed. Just be whelmed, if that's a word. They got to come out here and handle their business and just try to execute so they can be comfortable in this game. This environment is going to be difficult. Oklahoma's got to rebound defensively. They've got to tackle better. They've got to be better. They've got to be able to look in the mirror after this game. These guys weren't able to look in the mirror. They're like vampires on Halloween. No mirrors after what happened at Texas Tech last week. Just an unbelievable display of offense from both teams down there in Lubbock. Sooners won the toss. They deferred, so Kansas will receive. Laquiviante Gonzalez back deep. Now he returned to kick off 99 yards back in September. And the sophomore Austin Seibert. He will do the kicking for the Sooners. Let's play football. Kicks that one out of the back of the end zone, so KU will start from their own 25. And
Here comes Montel Cozart. Let's talk about what to watch for with the Jayhawks.
Well, there's Laquiviante Gonzalez. He's a guy that can take the top off of defense, and he had to be drooling watching what Patrick Mahomes and the Red Raiders did to this Oklahoma defense last week. And the Oklahoma defense has just got to tackle better. There's Jordan Evans. He's a hometown guy. He's a leader and a senior on this team. They've got to be more accountable to each other and just hang on to some cloth when they try to tackle these skilled Kansas wide receivers. Both the guys on the perimeter for the Jayhawks, pretty good.
Kansas tries to get it up tempo. They'll start from the gun. Montel Cozart, Keon Kenner. Offset right. The fake to Kenner, he's going up top. And that one's incomplete. Looking for Bobby Hartsock. See what Montel Cozart did last week, 250 yards in the air against Oklahoma State. And listen, this young man still has not been sacked at all.
And he looked better last week, and he does a good job getting rid of the ball. Again, I'd like to see him tuck it and run a little bit more. I like that call on first down, aggressive call.
And up goes the Kenner, straight up the gut. Neville Gallimore with the stop.
Third down was very difficult last week for Oklahoma. They had a really hard time getting off the field. It was the same against Houston with Greg Ward Jr. at quarterback. This has been for their defense early.
3rd and 4. And Oklahoma's going to call a timeout. Bob Stoops and his brother Mike Stoops, of course, defensive coordinator, didn't like what they saw. First timeout. When we come back, 3rd and 4. Welcome back to Norman. Oklahoma and Kansas were scoreless here in the first quarter. It's a good look at defensive coordinator Mike Stoops of OU. Boy, he's had some sleepless nights lately. That defense, one of the worst in the Big 12.
Yeah, they're having a lot of trouble this year developing leaders, developing playmakers, and getting off the field on 3rd down, and here's one of them.
3rd and 4. Kansas will go 5 wide. We got a flag on the play.
Offside. Defense. Number 18 jumped into the neutral zone. Caused a reaction by the offense. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Yeah, this here is Curtis Bolton. I thought it was going to be on the tackle, DeAndre Banks, because he shuffled his feet after Bolton drew him offside by coming into the neutral zone. That's a free first down for the Jayhawks. Mike Stoops not going to be happy.
Kansas will remain with that empty set for Cozart. He tries to throw a quick out to the receiver.
Ruling on the field. It's an incomplete
Steven
pass.
Sims.
2nd down.
That's their big play guy. That's the man they want to get the football to, Steven Sims Jr.
You know, usually they go to Laquiviante Gonzalez short and let him run, and then Steven Sims Jr. is the guy who goes downfield. But they've switched roles a little bit, and Laquiviante's been going down the field a little bit more, and Sims has been catching some of the intermediate stuff. That one was errant.
2nd and 10. Kenner. It's tough sledding.
Sooner defensive line has really been their strength this year, along with some linebackers making some plays. They have been most consistent on an inconsistent defense with their front four, and that does not bode well for the Jayhawks, who have struggled developing an offensive line this year. That's probably their weakest position group.
Kansas converting 33% of their 3rd downs. They're looking at a 3rd and 8. They've got all kind of confusion, and Cozart's going to call a timeout.
First charge timeout.
Still scoreless here in Norman. Welcome back. Scoreless here in Norman. 16th ranked Sooners taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. Well, this week, the NFL on Fox kicks off at a special time as the Redskins battle the Bengals. That's live from London. Then the Seahawks square off with the Saints. And in America's Game of the Week, the Packers face off with the Falcons. It all begins Sunday, 9 Eastern, only on Fox. 3rd and 8. Cozart again from the gun. He rolls right. Lobs this one up and out of bounds.
Well, the Sooners brought a blitz in both A-gaps and twisted the guys. Kansas O-line did a good job of picking it up and freeing Cozart up. I didn't think he had to run that far away and throw that away, but he didn't see anything he liked.
Kicks that one out of bounds. Last person you want is D.D. Westbrook returning punts. So we'll get our first look at Baker Mayfield. And let's talk about what to watch for with the Sooners.
He's a one-stop shop. I love him, Joe Mixon. And if he was about 200 pounds, I wouldn't worry too much about him. There's a lot of guys like that. But he's around 230, doing all the things he can do, setting people up, getting behind his pads and hitting them hard, and also really moving around with fluidity. And Dorrance Armstrong, he's got to keep it going. This is a guy that can win one-on-one matchups. He's had 1 sack in 5 straight games at least, and he's got to keep that up.
Mixon behind Mayfield. He gets it straight up the gut. Mayfield, boy, he had one of those video game type performances. Take a look at that 545 yards he had against Texas Tech. OU had 9 touchdowns against the Red Raiders. Kansas has had 8 TDs in their last 5 games. That one complete and dropped by Dahu Green. Good hit by Marnez Ogletree.
Mayfield able to get rid of it a little bit off balance. Ogletree comes up and puts his helmet right on the ball, and Dahu can't hang on. One more split second would have been a fumble.
3rd and 8 now for the Sooners, and this is where Kansas wants this Oklahoma offense. They're best in the conference on 3rd down and stopping people. And you can see Oklahoma converts nearly 50% of the 3rd down. Over the middle. Mayfield, that one's too high.
Mayfield had to get away a little bit. He had Daniel Wise bearing down on him and being off balance. He's not the only Big 12 quarterback that throws the ball off balance a whole bunch, trying to get his great tight end Mark Andrews, but overthrew him, and a good job by the Kansas defense. Clint Bowen's guys forced another punt.
They had another flag.
Ball start. Offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
So far, Oklahoma now a couple of penalties. And to move it back another 5 yards. Quiviante Gonzalez back deep for the Jayhawks. He fair catches that one at the 23. So we'll get our second look at Montel Cozart and that KU offense. We're scoreless here in Norman. Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. 16th ranked Sooners taking on the Jayhawks. Austin Cyber with a 46-yard punt. The Sooners missing some big-time players.
No doubt about it. They don't have their best linebacker and the straw that stirs the drink for their defense, Obi, and of course Samaje Perine is also out. They're missing Amani Bledsoe, who's out for a team rule. Matt Romar is out with injury. This is a defense that's pretty beat up.
Cozart complete to Keon Kenner, but we got another flag.
Holding. Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Ben Johnson called for that holding.
Yeah, he's the tight end. Not a bad guy catching the ball for Cozart. Ryan Willis got him involved a little bit more when he was a starting quarterback, and Coach Beatty was not happy with his tight end there. Gave him an earful right there on the sideline. First and 20 is a very difficult prospect for these Jayhawks.
We thought we were going to see a lot of offense in this game. How about Oklahoma with just 9 total yards of offense? Kansas with 2. First and 20 for the Jayhawks. And another penalty.
Ball start. Offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Laquiviante Gonzalez.
We talked about this, about being overwhelmed in this environment, about getting it all together. And right now it looks like Kansas is just a little bit over their skis.
Cozart again from the gun. So this was a drive that originally started from their own 24. They're now at their own 9. Kenner straight up. Pick up a couple.
We're going to see a lot of Keon Kenner. They have Taylor Martin, who's a very good back with a live body. Khalil Herbert's had some long runs. There's about 3 backs that go for Kansas, but it has to be Keon Kenner with the big plays down the field.
That's Gonzalez in motion. Cozart to Sims. Breaks a tackle, knocked out of bounds at the 12. That's Cozart's first completion. Will Johnson with the stop.
Well, in the 3rd and forever situation here for the Jayhawks, they might just want to try to get half of it, draw, screen, one of those boring 3rd down plays so they can get some comfort for their kicker to get it out and back to this dangerous Oklahoma offense. Got to say, Kansas did a great job defensively first time around in the first series.
Again, quick out to Sims. Breaks a tackle, cuts back. 25. And Laquiviante Gonzalez knocked out of bounds.
And that's what he can do. We talked about his ability in the intermediate routes. The young man out of Cedar Hill, Texas. Transfer from Texas A&M. Sets him up inside, gets outside. Jukes 2 guys going back inside. Hey, that's a great run, and he almost got there. Physical at the end, beautiful by Laquiviante Gonzalez. Given plenty of room to kick it.
Yeah, 20-yard pickup for him. D.D. Westbrook back deep for the Sooners. And he's from his own 29. Watch out, Westbrook. He's got great speed. D.D. Westbrook has taken this one to the house. Touchdown, Oklahoma. 71 yards by D.D. Westbrook.
Westbrook knows he has plenty of room and a blocker in front of him. Makes the first guy miss and just takes it right upfield, and it's him versus Wyman. The kicker, or Cole Moose, the punter, excuse me. No chance for Moose. Westbrook, explosive.
The extra point is good. Seibert. And the Boomer Sooners strike first. Thanks to D.D. Westbrook going 71 yards. Oklahoma 7. Jayhawks nothing. Welcome back to Norman. Oklahoma strikes first thanks to D.D. Westbrook going 71 yards. His first punt career touchdown return. In fact, it's just the 4th of his career return of any kind. So how about that?
Well, he looked pretty comfortable doing it.
He sure did.
No doubt about that. And he took it straight down the middle of the field, which is one of the worst things in the world for a punter, to see a guy like that coming. And Cole Moose had no chance.
Quiviante Gonzalez back deep for the Jayhawks, along with Emmanuel Moore.
Looks like the ball blew off the tee. Got to get a holder for it.
That was OU's first punt return for a touchdown in basically 3 years. Jalen Saunders, the last person to return a punt for a TD for the Sooners.
I remember him.
Let's get a game break. Here's the one and only Michael Thrill Hill.
All right, because for the first time this season, Baylor has given up a score in the 4th quarter. Coming against Texas, Shane Buechele to Andrew Beck. 7 yards gets him 6. 2-point conversion, no good. So the 8th-ranked undefeated Bears holding on to a 34-32 lead in the 4th. Back to my guys, because veterans.
Mike, thank you very much. Here comes that Kansas offense again. Cozart's going to go empty set here and 5 wide. Cozart looking left, throws the slant to Sims. Kansas will now go up tempo.
Beautiful slant there with the left side of the offensive line, cutting down the Oklahoma defense, getting their hands down. Nice pacing in the first play.
And it's Sims again. And it looks like they got another first down. Move the chains. He's very close.
This is what Kansas has to do offensively. Just be simple and go out and execute your stuff. They're good enough to move the ball. They've proven that throughout the year. It's the mistakes that have really cost them, and you saw that in the last drive. The holding penalty, the false start, and then, of course, the punt return they gave up.
Cozart keeps it. He's got a first down, and he's in Sooner territory for the first time.
We talked about wanting to see more of this. This is a 6'2" quarterback, over 200 pounds. Get that big body going in the right direction and make Oklahoma defend that. Nice call by Coach Beatty there.
Cozart looking left. He's going deep for Gonzalez. In and out of his hands.
Montel's upset about that, Brian. He knew that Quiviante had a touchdown there. Left him just enough space on the sideline to catch it with both feet inbounds and turn it up the field. You can see it right there. He had beaten badly Stephen Parker, the strong safety, and Montel missed an opportunity there, and he knows it. And it wasn't his opportunity missed. Quiviante Gonzalez should have made that catch.
Up until that point, he had 4 straight completions. Taylor Martin is now checked into the backfield for the Jayhawks. They're going to call a timeout.
Second charge timeout. Kansas, 30-second timeout.
And you know, the offensive coordinator, Rob Likens, had told us, we got to start fast. We have to start fast offensively against this Sooner defense.
Well, and that's really the key for Kansas. They can't get in a situation where they're playing catch-up with an offense that has been inconsistent. And when you have a team that's lost as many games as Kansas had, frankly, teams that find a way to win sometimes find a way to win. We just saw Washington find a way to win a game on the road, and teams that find a way to lose, sometimes they can do that as well. Here's the coaching carousel at Kansas. Obviously, Mark Mangino had it going. Turner Gill was a quick experiment that didn't work out, and this was the guy that really was the undoing of the Kansas program. So the stuff he did numbers-wise with the roster and who he kicked off the team and how many guys was just confounding, really. Clint Bowen came in. He's still here. He loves Kansas, great defensive coordinator. And he likes coaching with David Beatty, who really seems to have the right idea for how to turn this thing around. And we were talking earlier in the show, Brian, about these guys just trying to count small victories. This drive so far has been a good drive.
Cozart again. And again, complete. Is Steven Sims. Jordan Thomas with the stop. Kansas will be looking at a 3rd and 2. They are 0 for 2. So far on 3rd down, the Jayhawks are. The fake to Martin. Cozart keeps it, goes over their right side. Gets a 1st down.
Now here's Kansas using a fullback, Michael Zuniga. You see him right here, number 44. He's going to lead through and block, and that's all Cozart needs to get up underneath that block. Also Taylor leading through, the running back. Just enough room to edge forward for a 1st down. Nice call using Cozart and the fullback.
Another flag on the play. And he's going deep, and that one knocked away. Good play by Jordan Thomas. He was looking for Steven Sims, but we got another flag.
Offside, defense, number 19, 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
You have a defender make a great play on the edge, and you end up having an offside penalty. That's the kind of thing that has dogged this Oklahoma defense throughout the season. Very inconsistent, still searching for an identity, and we're almost at Halloween.
From the gun, Cozart. The fake to Martin. He rolls right. Under pressure. He's going to keep it. Gallimore with the stop.
And I thought Montel Cozart had a little bit more of a lane than he showed there. Just a moment of hesitation instead of just really taking off and firing his legs. I thought he could have gotten the 1st down, and he got up a little slow after getting hit there by Gallimore.
And he had Jeremiah Booker wide open over the middle. 2nd and 3 now for the Jayhawks. Cozart looking right. That one in and out of the hands. Bobby Hartsock.
Good job by Jordan Parker. Right on the back of Hartsock, but you're right, it went right off his hands. Maybe Cozart could have taken a little something off of it. Seeing him in the last couple of weeks, though, I really think Montel Cozart is starting to get more and more zip on that ball. He's starting to throw it with more confidence.
Jayhawks 1 for 3 on 3rd down. Cozart looks to the sideline, gets the play. Play clock to 2. Cozart keeps it. And stopped by DJ Ward.
That's the decisiveness that Montel Cozart needs if he's going to run the ball. He sees that big hole open up after the line twist and takes off.
Taylor Martin is now checked into the backfield. He's offset right of Cozart. Jayhawks had 5 1st downs here. That one is complete. Is Shaquem Barbell.
Nice tackle by Jordan Thomas. He's been their most consistent player out on the perimeter, and he's been inconsistent. 2nd nationally in pass breakups per game. That was a good sure tackle on Barbell on the edge.
Cozart looking downfield and over the head of Steven Sims. Cozart started the game 0 of 3, but has gone 6 of 9 since.
He's been pretty sharp. This is a big third down situation. They can't afford to give up a sack or anything that takes away the positive nature of this drive for the Jayhawks so far.
12th play of this drive. He had chewed up 4 minutes. Crucial 3rd and 9, Cozart. And that one's complete. Shaquem Barbell. Another first down, move the chains.
Barbell's right in the middle here, and he's going to come hook around. And that is just a missed tackle. That is what dogged them last week. Will Johnson should have had that behind the sticks, but couldn't hold on to Barbell. Did a good job fighting for the first down.
Cozart complete. Booker. And the sophomore from College Station pushed out of bounds.
Oklahoma's been having a hard time subbing guys in and out. A little bit of confusion with their defense. That's to be expected with all the guys that they have out. And Kansas has found that they can run their stuff to some success right now in the first quarter. Big opportunity here.
You see what the Jayhawks have done in the red zone. Zuniga's the fullback. That's Martin. They give it to him off their right edge. And he picks up a couple. Emmanuel Beal there for the Sooners.
Here comes another big third down situation. That has been the thorn in the side of Oklahoma all season long with their defense.
Coming into this game, Kansas usually converted about 33% of the third downs at 3 of 5 so far in this game. Cozart looking. Keegan Brewer made the catch.
Cozart looking the whole way. He wanted Brewer, he got him, but a nice play by Stephen Parker, the safety, coming up and making sure nothing was going to come out of that. Forces the field goal.
Matt Wyman will come in for the 23-yarder. He is perfect inside of 30 yards. He's been 3 for 3 so far this year. And that one's good. And the Jayhawks are on the board. And we talked about small victories. That's a victory here for Kansas. You get this nice long drive and you come away with some points.
And a small victory for Oklahoma's defense getting off the field on a third down. So both teams can go to the sideline and feel okay about that. But that is exactly, and Mike Stoops looks as flustered as ever trying to coordinate this beat up defense. But that's what Kansas needed to do. They needed a long sustained drive, get the ball in the hands of some of their playmakers, get Cozart comfortable. He was very sharp on that drive, completing the ball. They moved the ball down the field, got the crowd a little bit calmed down, and now they're in a better position to go play defense. Remember, their defense has been off the field for quite some time because of the punt return. They should be well rested and ready to try to stop this great trio of Oklahoma skill players.
That Jayhawk offense went 16 plays, 69 yards, chewed up over 6 minutes of clock. Matthew Wyman will come in and kick it off. Back deep is D.D. Westbrook. Michael Jones. And here comes Westbrook. Right up the middle. He's taking one to the house. He's going to take another. D.D. Westbrook has done it again, but there's a flag on the play.
See what the flag is. It wasn't enough to embarrass Cole Moose, the punter. Now he's got to go get Matthew Wyman, the kicker.
Holding, receiving team, number 13, 10-yard penalty. First down, Oklahoma.
A.D. Miller. That's a backbreaker there.
See him right here. Right in the middle of the screen is the hold there by Miller. Kind of a tough call. There was nowhere for anybody to get an angle or find anything to get after Westbrook there. Miller thought he had his hands inside.
You saw Miller, he went up the sideline, and that's one of those where you go nowhere near Coach Stoops.
He might get a visor to the head.
Here comes Baker Mayfield. Mixon. They fake to him. He'll roll back, and he'll throw it back to Mixon. Knocked away. Good play by Tevin Shaw.
Tevin Shaw with the makeup speed. The ball was a little bit underthrown, and that enabled him to go knock the ball away from Mixon. But look at this action. You see the pulling offensive lineman, the run action. Mayfield moves the pocket and then sets his feet to throw it back across. That has given people fits all years in the Big 12 trying to defend that play action style that Oklahoma's running. Great play, though, by Shaw.
End around to Westbrook. He's hit and fumbled the football. Kansas coming up with the first big turnover. Daniel Wise.
Unbelievable hit by Mike Lee. Mike Lee, the safety, the freshman, puts his helmet right on the ball. Only if you put your helmet on the ball like that does it fly that far. Look at Lee. Just hits it in the sweet spot, and it goes flying in the air like a giant pizza for Daniel Wise to grab and take it up the field. Pretty looking play, but there's really not much Westbrook could do there. He tried to cover the ball up with both hands. Just too much of a violent hit from Mike Lee, whose coach Clint Bowen described him as a water moccasin. He's only about 176 pounds, but that's about how much Westbrook weighs, and I have to say Lee won that battle, and the ball went flying. Great play by Wise to track it down.
First career forced fumble for Mike Lee. So here comes Kozart. And that Jayhawk offense once again in Sooner territory. Kozart looking downfield. Intercepted by Jordan Thomas. He was looking for Ben Johnson, and that one was short. Kansas leads the country in turnovers with 25, and you see why.
I like the idea of going for the jugular and finding your tight end down the field, but he was double covered and it was an ill-advised throw. Beautiful body control by Jordan Thomas, making the catch and then making it legal in college and then the NFL.
That's the Jayhawks' 15th interception of the year. Now 26 turnovers. The most in FBS.
From the 2-yard line.
And those are backbreakers for that defense of the Jayhawks. First and 10, Mixon. Fish-Smithson with the stop.
And this is a Kansas defense, remember, that because of that punt return, it is still well rested. They forced the turnover, and now they're right back out on the field. They're not in a bad position here as far as playing field position if they can keep Oklahoma from getting a first down.
And the crazy thing is you look at total yards, it's Kansas with nearly 100 total yards. Oklahoma with just 3. Mixon is stopped.
Now it's 2.
Dorrance Armstrong, and you talk about their biggest playmaker coming up with the play there.
Yeah, he just reads the play and keeps it going down the line. They might try to get him with an end around or something off that action, but he chased it beautifully.
3rd and 11. This is what the Jayhawks wanted. OU 0 for 2 so far on 3rd downs. Mayfield looking over the middle to Mixon. Shakes a man to the 20. And he's dropped by Fish-Smithson.
missing a very sure tackler, making sure that that wasn't more for Joe Mixon, and it could have been. Look at how he can set people up now in space.
22-yard pickup.
Wow, did he do Mike Lee? That guy is bad. And he's a little bit shaken up.
Yeah, you don't want to see that, especially with Samaje Perine already out with that pulled muscle.
There was no foul on the play for offensive pass interference. The ruling was that the pass was touched at the line of scrimmage. The result of the play is a first down.
There's Samaje Perine, who's out and in street clothes. He's not playing in this game. Also a great
The ruling
back.
that the pass was touched at the line of scrimmage is under review.
Well, they're saying the pass got touched at the line of scrimmage. There was a call for offensive pass interference on the play. We didn't see the flag, but they're saying that it was tipped, so there could be no offensive pass interference because once it's tipped,
Exactly.
it's a free-for-all. And now Kansas is saying it wasn't tipped, so keep the flag. That ball was not tipped.
The ball was not tipped. Doesn't look like.
Nobody touched it.
No, I didn't. This looked like a wounded duck he threw.
Nobody touched it between Mayfield's hand and Mixon's. I'm not sure where the offensive pass interference was on the play. It should be easy for the officials to decipher that the ball wasn't touched. So if they want to call a penalty on the play, they can, and we'll replay third down.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The pass was touched behind the line of scrimmage. It's first down.
Okay, well, the pass touched behind the line of scrimmage by Mixon, the receiver, is different than saying the ball was tipped. So a little bit of confusion there from the officials, but it seems like we got it all worked out.
So 1st and 10, you can see they're still working on Mixon. Abdul Adams, the freshman, has come in. Mayfield the fake. And he's going across the middle. And that is incomplete. Looking for Geno Lewis. Tevin Shaw.
Shaw did a good job again, knocking the ball away from the receiver. Geno Lewis looks like he could have pulled that down. Baker Mayfield not afraid to throw the ball into tight coverage, and he is very accurate.
Mayfield 2 of 6 so far. You can see some Jayhawks just getting off the field. Play clock to 1. Adams the carry. Left side. Marquise Roberts makes the stop.
There you see Abdul Adams. He didn't know he was going to have to carry the load at this point in the game, but that's the way it looks right now until we get a report on Joe Mixon and what is wrong with him. Only had 28 carries going into this game on the year, but a big recruit. Chose Oklahoma over Alabama and Michigan.
3rd and long for Baker Mayfield and the Sooners. Play clock at 1. And I think we're going to get a timeout.
2nd charge timeout. Oklahoma. 32nd timeout.
With this timeout, let's get a game break. Here's Mike Hill.
All right, because both unbeaten Big 12 teams going down today. 8th-ranked Baylor joining West Virginia in the loss column. Texas's Trent Domingue, 39 yards, game winner. Big 35-34 win for Charlie Strong and the Horns. And even superfan Matthew McConaughey has to be saying, all right, all right, all right.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Mike. And now if you're the Sooners, you really want to remain unbeaten in the Big 12.
They still got a great shot in this conference, and it is a topsy-turvy conference this year. And people talk about the conference championship game and how they're going to figure that out, and they have figured it out, 1 versus 2. The Big 12 standings are pretty wacky.
Oklahoma only unbeaten right now. They want to get to 5-0. Be the first time they've done that since 2004.
Yeah, West Virginia went down today with that beautiful balanced offense of Dana Holgorsen.
Mayfield, the fake to Adams. Looks right. And that one's complete. Geno Lewis picks up a couple of yards too. Tevin Shaw brings him down.
And if Baker Mayfield can stand back there and throw the ball, he's going to start completing more and more of those as this Sooner offense starts to catch its rhythm. And if you're Kansas, you don't want to see that guy throwing the ball untouched.
10 seconds left in the quarter. Mayfield's going to keep it. He gets to that edge and out of bounds. Mike Lee chases him out. 15 minutes are in the books.
This is the end of the first
Sooners with the big play. D.D. Westbrook. They've got a 7-3 lead. Second quarter when we come back. Welcome back to FS1 College Football presented by Verizon. 16th ranked Sooners 7-3 lead here as we take a look at the first quarter stats. And wow, you're looking at this, you're thinking, man, Jayhawks should be winning this football game. I mean, they've rolled up nearly 100 yards of total offense, but they've had the time of possession nearly 11 minutes, and they find themselves down by 4 here to the Sooners.
And they haven't had a lot of opportunities offensively. They had a turnover and then got it right back. But it's really the punt return that kept them off the field, and that's why they're winning. The D.D. Westbrook punt return. They've got a little more rhythm here at the end of the first quarter. We'll see how it carries over into the second.
Adams still in the backfield. He gets the fake. Mayfield under pressure. He's going to escape the pocket and run out of bounds. Dorrance Armstrong chases him out.
Baker Mayfield among the most creative runners with the football as far as quarterbacks go in college football. Does a great job keeping his eyes down the field.
We're in Norman, Oklahoma. Brian Custer alongside Petros Papadakis. And you can see Mixon still hanging out. He caught that pass for a first down, a 20-yard gain, and hasn't been back in since. It's Adams, and oh, he is met right at the line of scrimmage. Daniel Wise leading the charge.
E.C. Holani in the area as well from Hilo High School in Hawaii, the Big Island, and Riverside City College. They have a good defensive line, Kansas. They've got a lot of tackles for loss. They're among the tops in the Big 12 in a lot of defensive categories, and there's no doubt that Kansas has improved on defense, forcing a punt here.
Seibert standing back at his own 30. Viviante Gonzalez back at his own 10. This one's short. Fair catch at the 22. Montel Cozart and the Jayhawks back on the field when we come back. At the beginning of the second quarter, Oklahoma 7-3 lead over Kansas. Nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know, the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Right now on the sideline, all eyes are on Joe Mixon. His right knee was not wrapped earlier in the game, and now he's got it wrapped. He's been trying to loosen it up, doing some plyometrics, riding the bike. Still got his helmet on, so probably still a chance we see him.
Michael Zunick, Taylor Martin in the backfield. That's Martin. He gets the carry. Plows ahead for a couple.
The Sooners do not provide in-game injury updates, so we'll know if he's okay, if he's back in the game. Usually if they take your helmet away, that means you're not going back.
And the fullback.
Offense, number 65, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Jason Rhodes. Third penalty for the Jayhawks.
And you know, this has really been kind of a blueprint for the whole season in every game for Kansas. Their defense has given them opportunities in a game, and their offense has got to be able to convert those into at least some first downs to give the defense a rest. Maybe they can do better. Penalties like that really hurt.
From the gun, Kozar hands it off to Martin. Neville Gallimore brings him down. Gallimore, just a freshman from Canada. Like Mike Stoops told us, he has the ability to be special.
I just can't believe Mike Stoops. I can't imagine him in Canada recruiting.
How about that? Or north of the border to find talent. 3rd and 12 now for the Jayhawks. They've completed or converted half of their third down. 3 of 6 so far. Kozar flushed. And that one was low. Manuel Beal. He was looking for Bobby Hartsock.
Kozar had plenty of time, and he probably had Taylor in the flat a little bit earlier than he wanted to give it to him. When he was flushed out, Oklahoma's defenders kind of rolled toward him, and there was nowhere to go with the football. Big for the Sooners getting off the field on a third down. That's been a huge challenge for them, as we've discussed.
So D.D. Westbrook back at his own 40. We know what happened last time he got it. He took it to the house, but we had the penalty. And he's going to fair catch that one. Good punt by Moose. Oh, Halloween is right around the corner. This has been a treat of a game thus far. It's 7-3. We'll be back. We're in Norman. Welcome back. We're in OU. The Sooners, 16th rank, up 7-3. Let's take a walk around what happened around the nation thus far. Look, Sooners want to remain unbeaten in the Big 12 because West Virginia, they lost to OSU. You saw those guys in Stillwater last weekend. And then how about Action Jackson? Lamar Jackson winning the game with a touchdown pass, basically 13 seconds left. And Baylor, that's a good win for Charlie Strong.
He needed it.
At Texas. Hey, Joe Mixon is back in the game and in the backfield with Abdul Adams. The fake. Westbrook, he's going to throw it to Mixon. And that is knocked away by Fish Smithson.
This is incomplete.
Interesting play call there by Oklahoma, trying to catch Kansas off guard. Well done by a very disciplined player in his own right, Fish Smithson. You see the mesh action between Adams and Mayfield, then over to Westbrook and down the field to Mixon, really trying to involve all their playmakers on the play, but Fish wasn't having it.
You see Mixon limped off, slight limp as he went off the field. Mason, hand off to Adams. Good fake.
And this is huge for a young back in the game. Right in his face is the center, Eric Wren, and he's got to get around his own guy after bumping him. The hole opened up, and he did a good job getting the ball down the field despite losing a shoe.
Dimitri Flowers have now checked in for Oklahoma. They look at a 3rd and 2. 2 for 4 so far on 3rd down. And that's complete. Basquin, Nick Basquin, walk on. That's 77 yards, 4 catches last week against OSU.
Yeah, local guy made his debut versus Houston. First team All-State in high school out of Norman North High School. So You got to believe he loves the Sooners, living his dream out there.
Nixon is checked back in. Mayfield. Too hot. Looking for Mark Andrews.
You see how quickly Baker Mayfield can deliver the ball and just how fast. That was a mustardy throw, but should have been caught. A little high, but should have been pulled in by the talented tight end, Mark Andrews.
Sooners still trying to get into Jayhawk territory. Mixon, Adams with Mayfield. That one's complete. Andrews. That's another first down.
What a luxury it is for Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, to have a 6'5", 250-pound tight end that they can line up way on the outside that can run routes like that. His route tree is not limited despite his size. Hauls that one in.
That's Dimitri Flowers. Back with Mayfield. He rolls left, and he's looking downfield. And he's got Westbrook. Touchdown, Sooners. 41 yards.
Well, he had a one-on-one matchup with his best player on the edge, D.D. Westbrook and Brandon Stewart. Stewart did a great job really staying with him, but too much speed and too accurate of a throw right to the back of the end zone by Baker Mayfield, and Westbrook lays out and gets it. Beautiful throw.
He is electric. Seibert now for the extra point. It's good. The Sooners go 67 yards in 6 plays in a minute 51. Thanks to D.D. Westbrook, that 41-yard touchdown reception. Baker Mayfield says, that's my guy. Sooners up 14-3. Welcome back. Oklahoma now up 14-3 thanks to D.D. Westbrook. That 41-yard TD catch. Westbrook now with 11 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's now got 8 TDs, 40 yards or more. You talk about a big play maker. D.D. Westbrook is one. Seibert, the kick. Let's get a game break. It's all you, Mike Hill.
Lucky enough to keep an eye on this 7-11 matchup. Undefeated Nebraska and Wisconsin. Divine Ozigbo, 1-yard score. Huskers tied at 7 there. It's now 10-7 Wisconsin in the second. Fellas, back to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Kansas can't squander another opportunity. They had a great turnover and a chance to get some points on the board. They turned it right back over. You think about the drop pass by Laquiviante Gonzalez that probably would have been a touchdown, or at least gotten him in a position to really threaten to score. Kansas can't continue to have these self-inflicted wounds on offense.
After a touchback may select what lateral position on the field to snap the ball from.
The explanations from the official are getting very detailed.
Yes, yes, they are. I think somebody wants some TV time. And aside from that, how about the turnover too? That after they got a turnover, they turned it right back over with the interception. Stout Oklahoma defense. As Keon Kenner got the call and ran into a wall of Sooners, led by Ahmad Thomas and Emmanuel Beal.
Good job by The Sooners bowing up, but at the same time, they have got to continue to run the ball with Taylor Martin and Keon Kinner just to try to keep this defense honest, and that'll open up things for Gonzalez and Sims on the edge. They just have to stick to their game plan. They've moved the ball pretty well. Kansas must remain calm.
Empty set. And the slant, it's caught. Shaquem Barbell.
Pretty simple slant route. Crossing the face of the defender, Will Johnson. And a well-delivered ball by Kozart.
See if Kansas can get, not only convert this third down, but do what they did at the very beginning of the first quarter. Their first 3 drives, they had 24 plays, nearly 100 yards. Last 6 plays, just 10 yards. Quick one to Sims. That's a first down.
And this is a fun matchup between Jordan Thomas, the best corner that Oklahoma has, and the best receiver that KU has, Steven Sims Jr. Sims won that one. Like you said, it was a quick throw, and then after he secured the catch, a very, very lightning fast move to the edge to get the first down.
Sims Jr. now with 5 catches and 35 yards. Kozart looking downfield. This Sims, but I think he went out of bounds. You saw the hat there on the field. Usually that means someone stepped out of bounds.
Was he forced? The officials don't believe he was. There's Sims turning for it, and there's the foot out of bounds. Well called by the official. And he gets an opportunity to throw his hat like it's a hat trick in a hockey game.
Illegal touching by the offense. The wide receiver stepped out of bounds on his own, reestablished and caught the pass. Penalty is lost it down at the previous spot. It's second down.
I like the play call. I like the aggressive nature of what Coach Beatty is doing, throwing the ball down the field on first downs. Keep OU awake out on the edges, and they certainly have the guys that can go down and get it in Sims and Gonzalez.
Denzel Evans is now checked into the game in the backfield. So Keon Kinner and Denzel Evans.
Yeah. Result of the play was a completed pass. Clock will start on my ready for play signal.
Thank you for that. Second and 10 now for Kansas. Kozart underneath. McKinner. Jordan Evans with the stop.
That was the right place to go with it with Keon Kinner. Evans was just hot on his tail and was able to bring him down. And here's another third down situation. These have been hard for Oklahoma. They already failed on one this drive.
You can see what the Jayhawks have done here on third down. They've converted just 3 of 7. He's going to swing it out to Kinner. And that's Will Johnson, who makes his stop. Stephen Parker with him.
That's a big deal for Oklahoma. D.D. Westbrook going out to return to punt. Just hunting together. If the first guy doesn't get him, the second and third will. Well done swarming to the football.
Cole Moose with the punt. D.D. Westbrook. And they kicked that one right out of bounds. 14-3 Oklahoma.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime shake-up Saturday, playing out as expected as the Big 12 no longer has an unbeaten. But the Pac-12 does. See how Washington escaped Utah. Plus, the Seminoles trying to put a blemish on Clemson's record. Brian Petros, we'll see you guys at the break.
All right, Rob, thank you very much, bud. 14-3 is the score here in Norman. You see Joe Mixon, who was out for a couple of series, but he's back in. D.D. Westbrook, boy, he's made some big plays already. Punt return for a touchdown, 41-yard touchdown reception. Sooners with a 14-3 lead here. 1st and 10. Mayfield, the fake over the middle, wide open. That's Geno Lewis. We've got a flag on the play.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 75. The pass was touched beyond the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's 1st down.
That's Drew Samia, the right guard, number 75 here, who gets downfield. Just kind of gets caught in no man's land there. It's really this play action by Oklahoma that causes fits for opposing defenses. You saw how open Geno Lewis came across the middle, and just no reason for Samia to get caught out there. He needs to hold his water and stay around the line of scrimmage on plays like that.
Nixon, the carry. He stopped after a pickup of maybe a couple.
Great job by the front of Kansas.
Anthony Alobia with the stop.
They're not allowing Nixon to stop in the line of scrimmage and kind of oversee where the holes are going to be, because they're right on his back, pursuing from the backside. But there are things Oklahoma can do offensively to exploit that.
Nixon has carried the ball 4 times now. No yards. Mayfield. That one in and out of the hands of Michael Jones, the freshman. Tyrone Miller defending. Look at the shot Baker Mayfield takes after this throw.
Kansas can rush the passer, and that is a violent hit on Mayfield.
Cameron Rosser with that hit.
Yeah, he's their nickel guy that comes in out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Comes in on pass rushing situations, and they certainly rushed Mayfield on that one. He was a little banged up, and Mixon's a little bit banged up. D.D. Westbrook's been carrying the day so far for the Sooners.
And it's Westbrook in the backfield with Mayfield. He's going to swing it out to him. And Westbrook looked like he was going to pass. He's going to keep it now. Cuts back, makes a move, got a 1st down. And he's in Jayhawk territory.
Guy like Westbrook can just erase mistakes. He takes it on a pitch. Too much pressure to get the ball up in the air. So what does he do? He just starts creating in the open field a nice stop cut to really free him up to get the 1st down. And he's been on fire so far.
24-yard pickup. Mixon and Abdul Adams now in the backfield with Mayfield. There's Mixon. Smithson with the stop.
Now you see this play being run in its purest form. That's the run play that Oklahoma uses on all their play action to confuse defenses, and that's what opens things up with one-on-one coverage for D.D. Westbrook and Baker Mayfield throwing the ball down the field. But you couldn't do it without the threat of Joe Mixon running that power out of a shotgun.
Mayfield. Geno Lewis. Tyrone Miller pushes him out of bounds.
Well, there's Lincoln Riley, the OC in his 2nd year here. Worked under the great Ruffin McNeil at ECU, home of the Pirates. Of course, he was at Texas Tech under Mike Leach, and he's a guy that David Beatty wanted to hire.
2 years ago, he tried to bring him on his staff.
Yeah, a lot of people want to hire Lincoln Riley. He's a brilliant offensive coordinator. And I love the run game that comes out of this air raid they run at Oklahoma.
Mayfield looking deep downfield, and we got a flag. And Derek Neal said, listen, this guy's burned me. I'm just going to tackle him before the ball gets to him.
It's better than hearing the fight song again. And Westbrook going down the field, and you see that left hand in the back pocket. Derek Neal had it.
Defense, number 7, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Easy enough call to make, and I don't blame Derek Neal one bit. One-on-one coverage with a guy like that, you're beaten, tackle him.
Both teams now have rolled up 5 penalties. So 1st and 10 now for the Sooners from the 22. Mixon, and he ends it up on the end around. Michael Jones. He's dropped at the 15. Tevin Shaw makes the open field tackle.
Brian, we talked about these Oklahoma defenders, or excuse me, Kansas defenders chasing Oklahoma and chasing Mixon's backside. What do you do to combat that? You run an end around right back at it. Good job getting away by Jones in the backfield. Turns it into something positive. Great call by Lincoln Riley.
Second and 3 now. Mayfield looking up top. Andrews checks a man. Touchdown, Sooners. Tyrone Miller tried to make the tackle. He whipped. Mark Andrews has got his 5th touchdown catch of the season.
And I really like seeing the acceleration from Andrews after shaking the tackler, running to score, and you get the feeling that the Sooner offense now has it all working. Mixon had a nice run on that drive. Westbrook forced the pass interference. The end around was nice. They look much better.
They've certainly gotten their rhythm. They extend the lead now 21-3.
No play action here, just a straight shotgun out route to the tight end. Lined up more as a wide receiver for the majority of this game. Mark Andrews at a Desert Mountain High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. Dangerous tight end, and there's the Sooner Schooner. Goes pretty fast.
Now, if you're Kansas, very important that your offense do something in this last 3:35 here until the half, because keep in mind, OU won the toss, they deferred. They're going to get the ball at the beginning of the second half.
And it's the same old story for Coach Beatty and the Jayhawks. They've played pretty well on defense. You know, they've done everything they can to kind of hold the dam back, but that defense needs to rest. That's when they play their best. And they just haven't been able to. Kansas has not moved the ball well enough to give these guys a sufficient break, and Oklahoma's starting to exploit it.
And another kick goes out of the back of the end zone, and so Kansas will start at their own 25. Time for a game break, and let's find out what's going on with Clemson and FSU. Here's Mike Hill. Mike?
It's one of the big games of the night. ACC battle. Winner of this game has won the conference title the last 5 years. Tigers striking first here. Wayne Gallman. 1 yard gets him 6. Just like that, 7-0 Clemson early in the first. Because Edie, back to you.
My man, Thrill Hill, I appreciate it. So here we go, Montel Cozart. And that Jayhawk offense, they've got 3 minutes, 35 seconds here until the half. Get some points on the board.
I think Coach Beatty would settle for some first downs.
Yeah, you're right. Empty set for Cozart. And he looks left, and he's got nothing. He was looking for Steven Sims.
Very aggressive. Stephen Parker was on Steven Sims, expecting the short route.
Keon Kenner now in the backfield. Offset right of Cozart. Kenner picks up a couple. Coming up, it is the State Farm FS1 College Football Halftime Show. Rob Stone, Matt Leinart, Robert Smith, all those guys in Los Angeles. 3 minutes.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. It's third down.
Those are just drive killers, as DeAndre Banks called for that false start. You know, and since that field goal, when Kansas got on the board and it was 7-3, they've gone 11 plays, 14 yards. That's it.
And that's not good enough. And Coach Beatty knows it. Montel Cozart knows it. They have had the ability to move the ball on this Oklahoma defense. They've hurt themselves in a lot of these situations.
Crucial 3rd and 12. Cozart's going to take off. He's got a lot of room. Dives for a first down.
And I've wanted to see more of that from Cozart in the last few weeks. Get that big body leaning forward and get the first down for your team. He knows how crucial these first downs are. And he shows the desire to go and get it. I want to see more of that from this quarterback. It adds a great dimension to his game.
Cozart complete. Hartzog pushed out of bounds. Another first down. 12-yard pickup.
Now Kansas working on a little rhythm.
Cozart's nearly thrown for 100. Hartzog again. He's in Sooner territory. Knocked out of bounds at the 45.
I like Bobby Hartzog Jr.'s patience when he catches the ball and sets up his blockers. Junior out of Houston, Texas. Only 15 catches on the year so far going into this game, but he only had 10 last year, so his role is increasing.
They like to get the ball to him in space. He runs a 4.40. Most experience of all of their wide receivers. 2nd and 3. Cozart, he's got plenty of time. And these guys made a sandwich, did some taxes, and throws it out of bounds. And he was looking for Gonzalez.
Interesting to see what Cozart was looking at here. He's got his 2 best receivers. Sims down the field in a one-on-one situation. Gonzalez going underneath him. Didn't feel comfortable throwing it, got rid of it, set it up for a pretty manageable 3rd down.
Under 2 minutes until the half, and it's 3rd and 3 for Kansas. Pressure from the Sooners. And Stephen Parker read that as he stops Gonzalez short of the first down marker.
Cozart getting that double A gap twist blitz, and he saw it coming and got rid of the ball maybe a little prematurely, but he did get it to Laquiviante Gonzalez and gave him an opportunity to create, but Stephen Parker wasn't going to let that happen.
David Beatty's going to think about it a little bit. He's going to call a timeout here before that play clock expires.
Well, he's got to be happy that his offense just gave him a couple of first downs at least and some breathing room.
Take a look at that yellow
3rd
wristband.
and final. Charge timeout, Kansas. This is a 60-second timeout.
That yellow wristband that David Beatty has on, this is the reason why. That's Cole Hayden, 7 years old. His mother, Shanda Hayden, She's the lead academic advisor for the Kansas football team, and Cole's been suffering from cancer, and this is really the first time he's been strong enough to actually attend a game. So they've flown him out here to Norman, and you can see all the members of the football team motivated by him. He's been their main inspiration this season. They wear the Team Cole wristbands.
Great story, beautiful thing. And
keep fighting, young fella.
it's always wonderful to see a football team be inspired by a young person fighting a battle, and especially somebody they care about. Academic advisors are the saints of college football.
Yeah.
Making sure guys are eligible and finding the right classes for guys to excel in their life, and making sure a young man takes advantage of his education. Crucial work that they're doing.
Crucial 4th and 4. For Kansas.
Just don't punt it to Dede.
Well, they're going to go for it. Yeah, isn't that true?
Dede's coming off the field now.
On the season, Kansas 3 of 10 on 4th down. OU have allowed opponents to convert 6 of 11 4th downs. Here we go. Kozart under pressure rolls, and he just stopped short and knocked out of bounds. DJ Ward applying the pressure.
And a very interesting call now by David Beatty. I understand why you want to go for it and not give it back to Oklahoma's offense or punt it to Dede Westbrook, but now you're in a situation, a good job by Ward tracking him down and not letting Kozart get away. He really used the sideline to his advantage like an extra defender on the play, but now you have Oklahoma with a much shorter field. 53 seconds is twice as much time as Baker Mayfield needs to get points on the board, and Oklahoma's got one timeout, as you can see up there. David Beatty with a decision and a gamble, and did not pay off for him. Let's see if his defense can hold.
And as you pointed out, an offense that has seemed to find its rhythm now.
I understand why they didn't want to give it back to him, but now look where they have it.
Right at midfield. Dede Westbrook is up top. Mayfield looking left. And over the head of Nick Basquin.
And that was something Baker Mayfield saw before the snap. He saw the safety over the top, and he knew that Dede Westbrook was going to be covered up on the go route, so they sent Basquin under. Throw was a little errant, but Basquin was open.
Mayfield keeps it. He's got a first down and more. Fish-Smithson chases him out of bounds, but not before he picks up about 15.
Really pretty action in the black backfield, and a great decision by Baker Mayfield to pull that out of the gut of Mixon and take it himself. Found some open field.
Talked about getting the rhythm early on. Mayfield was just 2 of 6 for 27 yards, but since then he's gone 6 of 9 for 100 yards passing. And completes another one. And this one to Geno Lewis.
It's all predicated on the action in the backfield. A long mesh with Joe Mixon. Mayfield so sure with that ball, pulls it up and releases it quickly.
And Mike Lee made the stop with his shoulder, and you can see he was injured.
For an injury. The clock will restart with the snap because Oklahoma will decline the 10-second runoff.
There's that mesh point. Baker gets the ball up and throws it just very fluid, and then you see Lee coming in, lowering that shoulder on Lewis. And he's trying to loosen it up right now on the sideline. This is the second game in a row that Lee's gone out.
Lee, a freshman out of New Orleans, and really should be in high school right now. Foregoed his senior year and enrolled in Kansas. Found himself in the starting secondary. Here's Westbrook. Inside the 10. Tyrone Miller with the stop. Mayfield's going to spike it.
this makes you think about the decision by David Beatty not punting the ball in the 4th down situation. Again, I understand why you want to keep the ball. I understand why you don't want to give it back to D.D. Westbrook. The fans love D.D. Westbrook here. And why not? He's been wonderful. But now you find yourself in a situation, if you're Kansas, with Oklahoma knocking on the door, all the rhythm in the world, and a guy who can really manage that clock at Baker Mayfield and Lincoln Riley on the sideline.
Mayfield over the middle. Flowers, touchdown. Baker Mayfield is sizzling.
When you're getting the ball to all your playmakers and making plays yourself, why not give the fullback a little love? The junior, 6'2", 239 pounds out of San Antonio, Texas. Primarily plays in the box, but has great hands. 23 catches coming into the game. 6 touchdowns in his career. That's the 7th.
Seibert's extra point is good. Mayfield threw for 5 TDs. Last week, he's got 3 here tonight.
Flowers, you see him just coming across the formation and then right down the middle of the defense. Really an interesting route. Well drawn up by Lincoln Riley, and the accuracy of Baker Mayfield is really impressive.
That one hurts if you're Kansas. You don't convert on 4th down. You give it to the Sooners at midfield. And the Sooners, of course, are going to get the ball at the beginning of the 2nd half.
Yeah, they really put themselves behind the 8 ball in that situation, and it was just as Oklahoma was starting to find themselves offensively. It looked like they kind of sleptwalked on that side of the ball through the 1st quarter, and now they seem to be going on all cylinders, despite Joe Mixon being a little bit banged up in this game. You know who loves it? Toby Keith.
Hey, how about Toby?
Does he know the Dodgers are out? I lost my Dodger hat last night. I think Toby Keith picked it up.
Where were you last night, partner?
If anybody sees my sunglasses, I'm missing those as well.
There's the kick. And Gonzalez with the return. Of course, FS1 college football is presented by Verizon. "16 seconds for Montel Cozart and the Jayhawk offense."
I think you just got to take a knee and just cut your losses and try to regroup and lick your wounds in the locker room here in Norman.
Cozart from the gun. Hands it off to Taylor Martin. Martin trying to get to that right edge. What a collision with Stephen Parker, and Parker's helmet goes flying.
Guys like it when their helmet flies off sometimes so everybody can see their face. Parker comes up, makes a good hit. Taylor Martin by far the most physical back Kansas has.
You got some hitting going on here in Norman.
Member of the defense helmet came off during the play to stop the clock. Kansas has elected a 10-second runoff. The half is over.
So it's the half. Your score, 28-3. Let's send it to Rob Stone in Los Angeles. We're in Norman, Oklahoma. It's homecoming, and the Sooners are rolling. They're up 28-3. We begin the start of the 3rd quarter. Brian Custer alongside Petros Papadakis and You know, partner, at the top of the show, we talked about how Oklahoma's so explosive with their offense, especially with D.D. Westbrook. And how about the much maligned OU defense not only showing up, but showing out in the first half?
They've had their opportunities, and they've taken advantage of them. Overall, Oklahoma came into the game sleepwalking a little bit offensively and maybe a little bit on defense, but they got it together, and they got it together behind their great wide receiver, D.D. Westbrook. Now, I can't believe this guy's only 175 pounds. Maybe 176 with his braces, and he can do what he does out there amongst a lot of these giants. He runs by people. If there's one-on-one coverage, he is probably going to win. And Brian, we talked about the OU defense giving up a record amount of yards and points to Texas Tech last week. Even though they got the victory, Mike Stoops and those guys were not happy about the way they performed. They've been much more physical with their opportunity against Kansas to get right. The big interception there, and you see the statistics in the first half. Oklahoma's been dominant.
Well, you can see, obviously, Oklahoma certainly got it going in that second quarter, and they get the football here to begin the second half. Baker Mayfield has thrown for 3 touchdowns so far in the first half.
And, you know, I've been really impressed with him. We see a lot of these Big 12 quarterbacks throw the ball in all kinds of different angles and ways, and Mayfield has all those skills, and he's very rarely off balance. You know, he throws it off his back foot, he throws it with a jump throw, but at the same time it's always pretty on balance for him.
There's the kick from Lyman, and Westbrook will take a knee. So we take a look at some of the offensive leaders here, led by the quarterback Baker Mayfield. There are the 3 touchdowns and 161 yards passing.
I've been really impressed with him, and then you see what D.D. Westbrook has done on the other side. This guy's just a game breaker, and I really like his demeanor. He doesn't get too excited. He's very workmanlike. He just keeps coming at you, and he's been giving Kansas and David Beatty's team fits.
Joe Mixon lined up behind Baker Mayfield. And he gets the call to the left side, and he's got running room. And had he not tripped and fall, he would have had a lot more as Fish Smithson gets the stop.
Mixon went out a little earlier with a, we assume, knee injury. He's still limping a little bit. He did not have a knee brace on when the game started. After a reception for a first down after a turnover, he went off the field and worked on the bike and did some plyometrics, put on that sleeve on his right knee, and he doesn't look 100%, but he's still plenty explosive.
Mayfield, and that's complete to Dahu Green. He dropped one earlier, makes the catch. Mike Lee with the stop.
Courtney Arnick there missed the tackle, and that's been a problem for Kansas as Oklahoma has started to take control of this game. Missed tackles on their initial opportunities. That did not happen in the first quarter. They were playing better defensively.
High snap. Mixon the carry. Damani Mosby. Dorrance Armstrong with the stop. Second and 8 now for the Sooners. Mayfield looking right under pressure, and he's sacked by Dorrance Armstrong. And Armstrong is a guy who has now recorded a sack in 6 straight games.
Oh, he's good, and you'll see what kind of rush he pulls here to get after Mayfield. Coming hard against Bobby Evans, and he's just too physical. This guy's a winner out there on the edge, and if Kansas has trouble executing in games, it's not because of Dorrance Armstrong Jr. This guy carries his weight for this team.
First time in 4 games that OU's offensive line has given up a sack. 3rd and 15. Mayfield under pressure again. Gets it off somehow to Mixon. And Mixon on the run.
Mayfield shaken up on the play. Now watch Mixon first chip on the outside, nice and physical, and then bail out his quarterback who took a big hit, driven into the ground. Here's the hit on Baker Mayfield again. That's Daniel Wise, that big body, 285 pounds on the top of Baker. It's a 4th and short, and Baker Mayfield wanted to go. They're pulling the offense off the field, much to the chagrin of Mixon and Baker Mayfield. A big victory for the Kansas defense.
Yes,
Forced
it
the
is.
punt.
Finally get that Sooner offense off the field on 3rd down.
First charge, timeout. Oklahoma, timeout on the field.
Oklahoma is going to take a timeout. 28-3, Sooners on top. Welcome back to FS1 College Football. It's presented by Verizon. Special thanks to the ceramic facility at the University of Oklahoma School of Visual Arts for our pumpkin carving. Professor Stuart Asprey and his student helpers, David Stevens and Ashton Letton and Julia Lindsay. Very nice.
I think that was a real person on the right. Not a puppet.
4th and 2, and how about this? They're going to go for it.
Baker was able to plead his case on the sideline during the break.
They are 1 for 6 so far on the season on 4th down. Mayfield, a lot of time, looks right. That's complete to Westbrook. Brandon Stewart makes the stop and the tackle for Kansas.
After making the play, Mayfield looks over at the sideline and gives him the first down signal, basically saying, see, I told you I could do it. Sometimes when you have a defensive coach like Bob Stoops, you got to plead your case.
That went in and out of the hand of Nick Basquin.
On that last play, Mayfield did a very good job of staying in the pocket despite taking a big hit and taking a sack earlier on the drive. He was able to stay in the pocket and just move a little bit to find D.D. Westbrook out on the edge. What an outlet he is.
He changes the call. Looks like Kansas will bring some pressure. The slant is complete to Westbrook. And he's off and running. D.D. Westbrook for the pylon. Knocked out of bounds.
Well, if you're going to play off this far on D.D. Westbrook and you see Brandon Stewart is, and then he doesn't drive to make the play. In fact, he barely makes it to Westbrook. He never gets any hands on him. And you've got to do more if you're one-on-one against an electric player like this. I know you don't want to get beat down the field, but you have to be more physical with the guy. You can't let him have free access underneath like he just got.
35-yard pitch and catch. Westbrook now has 105 yards receiving on 5 catches. 1st and goal. From under center, Mayfield. That one to Mixon, and he just spins and falls into the end zone.
Well, it hasn't been a highlight reel day so far for Joe Mixon. It has been for D.D. Westbrook. But he does a good job of pushing through despite Mike Lee hanging on his legs. And like you said, just kind of falls into the end zone.
Just falls right in. Here comes Austin Seibert. Knocks it through. D.D. Westbrook has now had 5 straight 100-yard games receiving after this 35-yarder, and that set this up. Joe Mixon finished it off, another touchdown. Sooners are rolling 35-3. Welcome back to Norman. Oklahoma up 35-3. Don't you dare turn that channel. Coming up next, Christian McCaffrey and Stanford taking on the Arizona Wildcats right here on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 9 plays, 75 yards is what Baker Mayfield, Joe Mixon, D.D. Westbrook just did as they score another one. And that one goes in the back of the end zone, so Kansas will start from their own 25, and they got to get things rolling. You know, in the first quarter, Montel Cozart, the Jayhawks racked up 97 total yards of offense. OU had just 55. Since that time, KU just 48 total yards of offense. Oklahoma 249.
He really was sharp in the first quarter, finding guys and getting it going, but things kind of dissipated from there, and they've got to find some kind of rhythm, to find some kind of confidence to help their defense out just a little bit here in this hostile environment.
Keon Kenner with the carry. Emmanuel Beal, Neville Gallimore there. See what Cozart's done.
The interception was bad. Double coverage to the tight end. Steven Sims, only 5 receptions. He hasn't really been able to get down the field and take the top off of this Oklahoma D. Kansas hasn't been able to do much of that at all.
Cozart. That one's out of bounds. In the direction of Bobby Hartzog.
Now, that was a miscommunication on the routes. I think that LaQuiviante Gonzalez and Bobby Hartzog had their route tree confused, and the ball went to no man's land. Kansas out of sorts offensively.
3rd and 9 for the Jayhawks. They're going 5 wide. They've converted just 5 of the 11 third downs they've faced thus far. Pressure, and down goes Cozart. Emmanuel Beal with the sack.
Emmanuel Beal, second leading tackler on the team with 46 coming into the game. Mike Stoops, never totally happy, but has got to be pretty happy with the way his defense has responded in this game since the first quarter. You know, when you're in a 5-wide situation, that ball's got to come out a lot quicker than it does with Kansas.
Pride of Reynoldsburg, Ohio with the sack. Fair catch made by D.D. Westbrook. When we come back, the big 3. Baker Mayfield, D.D. Westbrook, Joe Mixon. Welcome back to Norman. Oklahoma up 35-3. Time for a quick game break. There's only one. Mike Hill. Mike?
What's up? Huge ACC battle. Florida State trying to stick with Clemson. Down 14-0. It's Mr. Dalvin. Ooh, yeah. Dalvin Cook firing the end zone for 4 yards out. Cuts the lead to 7 in the second. Had to give you a little Jodeci there, Petros. I know you love him. Back to you and B. Cuss.
You know, the young kids are thinking like, what is it? Dalvin Jodeci, who is that?
Mike Hill's got me fiending for the next game break.
Yo, you guys are clowning now.
You're right.
35-3 the score here in the third quarter. Sooners taking over from their own 32. From the gun, Mayfield, the reverse. Here comes Jordan Smallwood. He pushed out of bounds. So far, the story of the game, it's the big play man, D.D. Westbrook. You look at what he has done this month. He is now at 5 straight games of 100 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns.
You know, and he's a different type of player, but he reminds me a little bit of Tavon Austin at West Virginia in that he just keeps coming. He's bigger and a little bit more explosive down the field, but he just keeps coming after you like a track star.
Here comes the running game. You talk about him. Here comes Mixon. Joe Mixon nearly takes it all the way.
Well, Mixon, you can tell his legs aren't feeling great. He's trying to get out to the edge and stretch those legs. You see the guard pull around, and Mixon likes it on the edge. He sees the sideline, and he hits it. He has the speed. Somewhere around there, you see a little tiny hitch in his giddy-up, and that allows Marnez Ogletree to come out and push him out of bounds and save the touchdown. Still a very nice play by Joe Mixon.
53 yards. He's now got 75 on the night. Abdul Adams comes in to give him a spell. How about that pitch and catch to Geno Lewis? Touchdown, Oklahoma.
Lincoln Riley wanted to talk it over a little bit with Baker Mayfield. That was a very confident throw to Geno Lewis. And he's got it going in that kind of way over Mike Lee, who's only 5'11". Geno 6'1", and he needed those 2 inches to go up and get it. The Sooners are officially feeling it on offense.
Cybered the extra point. It's good. And Oklahoma now up 42-3 thanks to Joe Mixon going 53 yards. He's no average Joe. Sooners up 42-3. Well, right across from Memorial Stadium, the football offices of OU, and that's the big one. Rob Stoops and the boys, of course, won it all.
Josh Heupel. Remember him? And look at those 2 backs. There's Samaje Perine, who's still out, looking like a grown man.
Look at those arms. My goodness.
And Mixon having a great time. 2 elite backs for the Sooners this year.
Kansas once again a takeover from their own 25. You know, Perine a couple of years ago when he faced Kansas ran for 427 yards against the Jayhawks right here. Also had 5 TDs.
And look how nice he is, giving everybody a snack down there.
Isn't that something?
I was never big on sharing snacks.
I found that out last night.
Let's see what Kansas can do here. They've really been stymied on offense, and the Oklahoma defense has done a good job.
Got it.
Kenner upended behind the line of scrimmage.
Jordan Thomas came flying in there. Made a nice play on the legs. Kawan Kenner.
Ricky DeBerry cleaned it up. Redshirt freshman out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. He's a 5-star recruit there. 2nd and 12 now. Kozar pump fakes. Throws that one away. Well, you talked about turning points. How about that interception in the first quarter when it was 7-3 basically? You see, it's been all Oklahoma since.
That's when they got their bearings.
Third and 12 now for the Jayhawks. Over the middle, intercepted. That's Jordan Evans. He's running the wrong way, and it comes back. And he's got a roll. He's going to take it to the house. A pick 6 for Jordan Evans. A senior from right here out of Norman, Oklahoma. One of the captains of this football team takes it 33 yards to the house.
And that's an experienced player. 31 career starts coming into this one for Evans. And the longer you can stay on your feet, after you make an interception or pick up a fumble, the better chance you have, because you're not going up against guys that are used to tackling. And it looked like the Keystone Cops out there with the Jayhawks trying to get after him. That's hard, you know. If a guy stays up, you're not used to making tackles. You got to get him down as fast as you can. Not sure what Cozart was looking at. He certainly did not see Evans, and a lot of the time linebackers can't get lost in the shuffle there, but no doubt an ill-advised throw. Bob Stoops, that's about it. The most you're going to get him to smile. That's Cozart getting a talking to from his head coach and offensive guru David Beatty.
Second interception of the night for Cozart. And for Kansas, their 27th turnover on the season. That's the most in FBS. You know, you talked about it at the top too, partner, that this was an opportunity, especially for Oklahoma defensively, to really get right.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to maybe find themselves in the midst of a lot of the chaos that they've had, whether it be injuries, dehydration, suspension from team rule. I mean, Mike Stoops is dealing with all of that this year, and they're searching for leadership. And Jordan Evans is about the closest thing they have to that. And leaders make big plays, and he just did that. Seems a lot more calm now.
They've almost equaled their season high. Picks so far just tonight. Short kick. Kansas will have it at their own 31. Let's get another game break, find out what's going on in the Big Ten. Here's Mike Hill.
Yeah, Wisconsin Badgers playing their 5th top 10 team of the season. Nebraska unbeaten this year. Tommy Armstrong trying to keep it that way. 2-yard run. Huskers still down 3, but remember, Nebraska's been dominant in fourth quarters this year. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
Thank you, Thrill.
I tell you, that Mike Riley can coach quarterbacks. Once he gets his hands on a guy, sometimes it takes a little while. And I saw it with Derek Anderson. I saw it with Matt Moore. You know, 2 guys still playing in the NFL.
League, yeah.
And you see it now with Armstrong. He just get much better in his 2nd year under the tutelage of Mike Riley.
Taylor Martin in the backfield. Now flanks out. Cozart. That's complete. Jeremiah Booker. Second down now and 4 for the Jayhawks. Martin following his block. Falls forward for a first down.
I like this back. He's a young back. 5'10", 200 pounds. He plays a lot bigger than that. Did a good job of getting behind his blocks, and that's the most violent run Kansas has had so far tonight.
You give it to Martin again. He falls forward. Emmanuel Beal brought him down for a couple. Martin's out of Fort Worth, Dunbar High School there. You know, one of the things that especially Rob Likens, the offensive coordinator for Kansas, told us, he said, listen, this kid is fast, violent runner, but he talked about, said, needs to be more disciplined.
Yeah, and that's the thing with young backs. You know, they want to take it to the sideline more than they should. They have trouble when it comes to pass protection, but I think Taylor Martin's going to do some damage here at Kansas as his career continues.
Cozart. Booker. Just a couple. Will Johnson with the stop.
And even though this game is pretty out of reach for the Jayhawks, they still have a very good opportunity to put some positive things on tape and to settle this offense down after that disastrous turnover. David Beatty knows every opportunity for little tiny victories is a big deal for the Kansas program.
And one of them could come here on 3rd down to keep this drive moving. Steps up in the pocket and he's knocked down. Sacked. Austin Roberts.
Austin Roberts, a very consistent player on the front, just beating a very talented but young left tackle Hakeem Adeniji with his speed and getting to the body of Cozart before he could step up. He had Booker coming across the middle for the first down and couldn't get it to him.
Cole Moose with the punt. Westbrook's already taken one arm back. There's a flag. Gets the fair catch at the 15.
Offside. Defense number 83. Line up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. First down.
It looks like we're going to have a new quarterback here. Baker Mayfield have the rest of the night off. Austin Kendall will be your new quarterback.
He's a guy they like. Just a very young player, about the same dimensions as Baker Mayfield, 6'1", 210, and they say he's got a great arm. A lot of arm talent, an excitable player, but not excitable in the same way as Baker Mayfield. Had some action in the second half against ULM and was 12 for 15 there with a couple of touchdowns. So let's see what he can do.
From the gun, a handoff to Abdul Adams over that right side. Marquise Roberts with the stop. Baker Mayfield's night. You can take a look at what he's done here over the last 3 games. 15 touchdown passes. Most ever for OU. You talk about some guys who won Heisman trophies here. Sam Bradford, Jason White. And that one's complete to Andrews. First pass of the night for Kendall.
And I like a mix like this. You know, when you're in control of a game, I like that you bring in the young quarterback, but you leave some starters in, like Mark Andrews, to help him out. The freshman along with him in the same class. Abdul Adams is out there with Austin Kendall. This is how you develop your program for the future. These are very valuable reps for these guys.
Adams again the carry. Mike Lee. Under 4 minutes now left here in the third. Big hole. Abdul Adams. He's got one man to beat. And I think that gorilla jumped on his back.
He ran out of gas. Didn't look like Marnez Ogletree had a chance, but he didn't give up on it. And Abdul Adams realized that it's a long way to the house. Beautiful run right up the hash. And it looked like he had an angle to take it, and then that angle disappeared as his legs got a little heavier. Good job not giving up on the play by Ogletree and making the play, but that's a good young back in Abdul Adams. Nice run.
57 yards. Adams now has 72 on the night. They'll give it to him again. He falls forward for a couple.
I tell you, he does not want to go to the sideline to talk to P. Ryan and Mixon. Looks like he got a little shaken up there. There's Mixon coming over to talk to him. That's going to be a fun running back room on Sunday.
Devin Montgomery. In now for Oklahoma. Montgomery to carry. Devin Montgomery, touchdown. the freshman out of Maryland.
Next guy up, and he can make people miss and break tackles too. He goes right underneath, and his eyes got big when he saw the end zone. Good for the young man. And, you know, this is also a great thing for a football team in control of a game. You see Samaje Perine trying to get a hold of Montgomery to congratulate him. Guys like to see when people have success and don't play a whole bunch.
6 plays, 86 yards. They did it in 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Austin Kendall orchestrates touchdown drive, and Oklahoma up by 53. It's starting to take shape the way it looked last year when Sooners beat Kansas 62-7.
Well, it's important to take advantage of your opportunities, and if you can't, then you're going to get exposed in a place like this. And what happens in a place like this is the crowd gets on you, things start to go wrong. We've seen a lot of things go wrong for Kansas football in recent memory. The guys start to look at each other, and things can get away in this way against a team that is so talented, especially on the offensive side of the ball, like the Sooners are.
And Oklahoma now right there at their average. When you look at it, and especially now that they've started conference play, they've been averaging over 50 points per game. They're at 56.
And you know, the horse didn't even come out. The Sooner Schooner, they're tired. The horses are tired, and they left him in there. I don't know if they're done for the game, but the horse got tired. I've never, look, my alma mater is USC, and they have a horse as well, Traveler. I've never seen USC score so much to where the horse is tired. But it happened here in Norman tonight on homecoming. And the horses deserve a break too, you know?
You just see the horse shake his head. They said, "You sure you don't want to run that?" He said, "Man, no. I ran out there enough." Seibert with the kick. And Laquiviante Gonzalez takes a knee. Time now for a game break. Mike Hill, what do you got?
How about these horses right here? The Broncos, Boise State, trying to avoid being the third unbeaten falling today. Only up 1 here against Wyoming. On the double reverse is Thomas Burbick throwing it to the quarterback, Brett Rippon. 33-yard for the score there. Broncos, you know, they love running those trick plays. 8-point lead right now in the fourth.
We're in the third. Sooners up 56-3. Cozart, the handoff to Martin, and he ran right into a Sooner wall. I go back to something that David Beatty told us. You know, he said, listen, I go back to all of these games, and we're in every game, but it's always, we're not good enough to overcome just one mistake, and that big one in that first quarter. Really get him in.
Yeah, it happened.
And batted down.
You know, at the same time, you wonder if Kansas had the juice to run with these guys at all tonight with the way things shook out. But the way David Beatty's going to look at it when he watches the tape and say, hey, look, we forced a turnover. We had an opportunity. We had an opportunity to score. We were moving the ball well, and suddenly things started to go sideways on us. What you have to do as a football team in a season and in a game is respond to adversity. And Kansas has not responded to adversity well in this game.
Under pressure. Throws that one out of bounds. Moose come on for another punt. D.D. Westbrook standing back at his own 35. He's going to let this one roll. They'll down it at the 14. Well, we've talked about the losing streak here for Kansas. Look, they've lost 20 straight FBS games. 24 straight to ranked opponents. How about that 41 straight away from Lawrence?
This kind of stuff does not happen by coincidence. You know, you make a couple hires that were ill-advised, and one of them really hurts the program, and then it's on a guy, a well-intentioned man like David Beatty, to turn the thing around, and they're working on it. Tonight has been a setback.
Montgomery, he gets the carry. Dorrance Armstrong there with the stop.
David Beatty still coaching, still fighting with his team, and they love their team. They love the attitude of these guys. They love the way they go to work, and they have them believing in each other.
Montgomery nearly broke through that arm tackle of Marquise Roberts.
Isn't it amazing how a team like Oklahoma can go 4 deep with their running backs, and they all look pretty good?
Absolutely.
They all look like they could start for somebody.
It's like running back U here. Seven different Sooners. Touchdowns here. 3rd and 7. Kendall threw that one up to Dahu Green. Derek Neal.
A little underthrown there by Kendall. Got an opportunity to throw the ball down the field in a blowout.
15 minutes left in this one. 56-3 Oklahoma. Start the 4th quarter here in Norman, and D.D. Westbrook, Joe Mick, they got a lot of dance and party about. They've had a night. They are rolling here over the Jayhawks, 56-3. Here's the punt by Seibert. Kansas had themselves some players. How about this Hall of Fame?
Well, we see some great running backs tonight, especially for OU, but Gale Sayers, the Kansas Comet, what can you say? You know, I've never seen a back that could make people miss from behind like Sayers, and this guy's the biggest dude out there on the field. Look at John Riggins and the great career he put together in Lawrence. Both guys great NFL players as well. But they could use those guys for the Jayhawks right now.
Yes, they can, as we begin the 4th quarter. And you look at what they've been. Kansas has been outscored in the last 6 quarters. And, you know, Kansas has failed to score a 4th quarter point since basically the season opener against Rhode Island. It's Keon Kenner gets the carry. He's close to another first down. Capri Doucette with the stop.
Kenner also has some big playability. He can get down the field. 54-yard run last week against Oklahoma State.
2nd and 2.
Here's the carry again. This time it is Devontae Lampkin.
Lampkin was moved up on the depth chart for this game with Matt Romar being out. Young man out of Houston, Texas, just a redshirt freshman. Got both arms around Kenner there and made the tackle himself. Good looking running back sack.
Third down and 4 now. Kozar, the fake, under pressure, throws it away.
Montel had plenty of time to get that ball out. Even with the token play action fake, pressure came from the edge. And I don't think he had anywhere to throw it.
Cole Moose punted away. This one takes a Kansas bounce. 56-3. Be back here in Norman. (56-3). That's the score here in the fourth quarter. Let's find out what's going on with Florida State and Clemson. Here's Mike Hill.
Yeah, big ACC matchup tonight. Pick it up here. DeAndre Francois, the redshirt freshman for the Noles, finding Naquan Murray for his first CD reception of his career. 5 yards, gets some 6 right there, making it a 3-point game. 17-14 Clemson at the break. Because Petro, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, there were some upsets here.
Yeah, Michigan State just having a disastrous year. But Baylor got Charlie Strong.
Yes, they did. Kendo keeping it over the right side. First down a lot more as Mike Lee tackles him out of bounds.
Nebraska, Wisconsin in a war there. West Virginia taking that balanced attack to Stillwater right down the road from here and taking a loss from Mason Rudolph and the Cowboys. 100th win for Mike Gundy, who got the Gatorade bath after the game. It was appropriately orange.
And Ohio State just getting by Northwestern. Kendo. And that's complete.
I like what Kendall's shown. He's got some wiggle on the outside, a willing runner. Did a good job getting the guys going a little bit. A couple errant throws, but that one was pretty good.
Second down and 3. Dual Adams gets the carry. Bounces off a man. First down and more. Marquise Roberts brings him down.
Adams back in the game, the freshman. Like we said, a big recruit for this team and very capable with the ball in his hands, but he has to wait his turn behind guys like Joe Mixon, who pulled it together in this game to put together a pretty good one, and Samaje Perine, who's out.
First down now. Sooners back in Jayhawk territory. Kendall's going to keep it. Breaks the tackle. Knocked out of bounds. Derek Neal.
Well, these young guys for Oklahoma are having fun out there, and it's this action, that power action, that really is the catalyst for much of what Lincoln Riley does with this offense. It's fun to watch how they've really developed the play action, and then through that, the power game, and then through that, kind of a zone read scheme where the quarterback can pull the ball and take it outside. We saw Baker Mayfield do it a couple times as well. Now his understudy, Austin Kendall, out there expressing himself.
That's Adams with the carry. Met right at the line of scrimmage.
There's Lincoln Riley. Man, he is a good coordinator, and he's got a great demeanor. You know, all these guys come from a different coaching tree, but it all sort of started when Bob Stoops came in 1999 to Oklahoma and hired an offensive coordinator away from Hal Mumme by the name of Mike Leach. And ever since then, slowly but surely, the Big 12 has become the air raid conference.
Adams up the middle. You know, Lincoln Riley told us that when I came here, I knew, you know, this offense was loaded. He said, but the one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to upgrade the passing game. He said here at Oklahoma, he said, because I had such great backs, I knew I could utilize the play fake and upgrade the passing game.
Yeah, and he's really grown, and that's the fun thing to watch. You know, how all these different teams in the Big 12 running a similar scheme on offense use their players and kind of mold their players into what they want to do. You know, the Texas Tech air raid is always a little bit different. They have things on the backside and screens on the backside of it. There's always some misdirection. Oklahoma State does it differently. It's interesting to watch it develop, but it's all because Bob Stoops in 1999 hired Mike Leach. Now, obviously, Cal does a great job running the air raid with Dykes, who went over there, and his history was at Texas Tech and Louisiana Tech in between. So there's a lot of people that have moved this thing beyond the Big 12. But when you look at Bob Stoops and what he's done, he's created this monster. And he's a defensive coach, and his brother's a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Yet they're responsible for these offenses in this conference and the space that's created and some of these video game-like scores.
Second and 12. Kendall going up top. Just the outstretched hands of Michael Jones.
And he really does appreciate the opportunity to take these shots. You know, you just don't get them in conference games. And they tried to pull everybody with the stop route and get it way downfield, just a little bit overthrown by the youngster Austin Kendall. And he knows that he's got a smile on his face. Not too many smiles on the Kansas side.
No,
though.
not at all. Third down and 12. Kendall over the middle. And that's complete. Basquin.
Basquin, the local guy, Norman North High School. Beautiful homecoming for him. He's had a pretty good day.
Fourth down and 2. Looks like the Sooners will go for it here. Little jet sweep. Smallwood gets around that right edge. Picks up another first down.
Start to see the skill players that Oklahoma possesses beyond D.D. Westbrook. That's going to go down as a pass. I think it was a forward pass. Jordan Smallwood, big bodied guy, 6'2", 220. And I've been impressed watching him move that big body, especially on the edge a couple times so far in the second half.
Under 8 minutes now left in the game. Adams almost had 6, and he kept his footing.
Abdul Adams doing a great job of utilizing the running back hand tap drill. You see him get that left hand down and try to push himself back up. As an older back, he's going to get better and better at that. And he would have taken it to the house, but good instincts to get that hand down like a tripod and kind of push yourself back up. That's a drill that running backs work on all the time.
Sixth time OU's been in the red zone. 5 times they've come away with touchdowns. This is Adams. He's just thrown down by Marquise Roberts.
I like the way that Joe Mixon is rooting on the young backs and very engaged in what's going on out there on the field. And that's the way a running back group or any group of guys on a football team should be. There's P. Ryan waiting for his opportunity to come back down the home stretch in the Big 12. It's a good Oklahoma team.
3rd and 3. Oh, that one off the hands of A.D. Miller.
Kendall trying to get another touchdown throw to match the couple he had earlier in the year against ULM. Disappointed.
Yeah, he knew it.
And they're going to go here because they're in a tight position here. You don't want to kick it and put more points on the board because that looks a little bit petty. But at the same time, you're going for it on 4th down. It's just a tough decision here for Bob Stoops.
Connor Knight checks in behind with Kendall. The lead block. Kansas holds. Count that one as a win for their defensive coordinator, Clint Bowen. Well, you've had their share of Heisman Trophy winners, 5 of them. Billy Sims, Jason White, Steve Owens, the late Billy Vessels.
I mean, it feels like this place and around this stadium and the campus, and it's a great school in its own right, but much of it is just a church to Oklahoma football, and none better than those Heisman statues outside. Those guys all look great.
That Heisman Plaza right outside the stadium. Those 5 statues of their Heisman win. Let's take a look at the Petros Nissan Heisman watch.
Yeah, these are my guys. Lamar Jackson, who pulled it out today against Virginia, which was very good. Jake Browning, more pedestrian today against Utah, but still leading one of the best teams in the country, especially on the West Coast. Peppers had a touchdown today.
He did.
For Michigan, and it hurts for me to put him in there because he's just a freshman, but you got to give a lot of love to what they're doing at Alabama with their offense and defense. Just they seem like they're playing at a different level right now
than everybody else. Guess they got a nice bye this weekend. Empty set here. Cosart. Quick strike there to Jeremiah Booker.
And I believe Cosart's still in this game to continue to get some confidence. You know, he's got to find a little bit of a positive vibe going out in this game because things really did go badly for him in the 3rd quarter.
You know, he started the season as the QB for Kansas, first 4 games, and then injured his shoulder, got replaced by Ryan Willis. Now he's back as the starter again. Another one to Booker. Fourth down and 2 for the Jayhawks. They'll bring on the punting unit. Here comes Cole Moose, and D.D. Westbrook is back, standing at his own 40. Calls signals for fair catch. Austin Kendall in the offense. We'll be back. Well, the 3rd largest home crowd ever came out to see Oklahoma's Big 3. They not only showed up, but they showed out. D.D. Westbrook turned a punt, touchdown catch. Baker Mayfield followed that up, not only running, but throwing as well. He had 4 touchdown passes on the night, and Joe Mixon running wild, got loose. He also had a touchdown.
And it's just so valuable to have 3 different guys that you can depend on to make plays, and 4 when Samaje Perine is healthy, and they use him in the backfield at the same time.
with Mixon, but it just is such a blessing for an offense to be able to create balance. If you move a safety out to guard Westbrook and make sure that he's not going to hurt you, then you have opportunities in the run game to really gash your opponent with Mixon and Pirine, and Baker Mayfield seems to always make the right decision, and he's so accurate.
Freshman Montgomery with the carry, and time for a game break. The big three's working hard. So is my man Mike Hill. What do you got, Mike?
Indeed, number 13, Boise State in trouble against Wyoming. Brett Rippon hit by Chase Appleby. The ball goes through the end zone. That's a safety and a 2-point lead for Wyoming. Broncos trying to avoid becoming the third undefeated team to go down today, joining West Virginia and Baylor. Because Petros, back to you.
Thanks, Money Mike. Third and 3.
7 undefeated teams on the road today, and a couple of them have got, as
yes,
we say.
Have. Montgomery met right at the line of scrimmage. Knocked back. Jackie Desir. Under 3 minutes left in this one. We haven't seen Seibert punt in a while, but
and he received is Gonzalez.
Quiviante Gonzalez is standing back at his own 10. Welcome back to FS1 College Football presented by Verizon. As the homecoming court. It's homecoming here at OU. Look at the Queen. She's having a seat. Got a new quarterback here for Kansas. Carter Stanley, the freshman. It's the last 2 minutes, 32 seconds. He hands off to Taylor Martin. Martin over that right edge. Got an injured Sooner.
See Carter Stanley there looking on, number 9. He is the freshman quarterback, 6'2", almost 200 pounds, out of Vero Beach, Florida, formerly known as Dodgertown. He's seen action in every game this year. And is he the quarterback of the future for David Beatty's program? It remains to be seen.
They're working on Curtis Bolton. Bolton, 6', 223, redshirt sophomore.
They can't afford for him to be too hurt. He is a very valuable player on this Oklahoma team, especially on the special teams. He's a zealot running down the field on all the coverage units.
Did you just pull zealot out?
Special team zealot.
Wow. You know it's the fourth quarter. You pull out zealot.
Every team has a special team zealot.
2nd and 4 here for Carter Stanley and those Jayhawks. Oh boy. There's a flag down off that hit. Capri Doucette came flying into that backfield and hit Carter Stanley.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Defense number 1, 15-yard penalty. Plays under review.
And they're going to review that and take a look. And if Capri Doucette is thrown out of this game, remember he's out for the first half of the next game. And he took a pretty big shot at Stanley and didn't look as violent on the replay as it did live. But that was helmet-to-helmet contact, no doubt about that. There's the release. Aaron throw. Carter Stanley's okay.
After reviewing the play, ruling on the field stands. Number 1 is disqualified by rule.
And you see Bob Stoops talking to Doucette.
If he didn't lead with his head, I thought the contact was okay. It wasn't that late if he had just pushed Stanley or something like that. But lead with your head and it hits the other guy's head, they're going to call that, especially when you see the head violently pop back like it did for Carter Stanley. And now Capri Doucette out for the last 2 minutes of this one and the first half of the next one.
That's one of the new rules went into place this season.
And it has changed the way that guys have tackled. You know, it's done its job. I was never a big fan of it when it started, but I see the direction it's going in. It's done its job to keep people from really exploiting the helmet-to-helmet nature.
Martin, the ball carrier, picks up a couple. Let's get our final game break. Big 12 action. What we got, Mike Hill?
Undefeated is going down. We had 9 to start today. 4 have fallen, including Nebraska. Nebraska falling to Wisconsin in overtime. Tommy Armstrong's 4th down pass broken up, and that'll do it. Badgers win it at home 23-17.
Wow.
Tough one for Mike Riley.
Yep.
Badgers have had it going, though. Bit of a surprise, the Big Ten. So was Nebraska, and is.
Stanley keeps it. Ooh. Bad decision.
Well, they were trying to run some kind of speed option out there on the edge, but the pitch relationship between Stanley and his back were very far apart. He had nowhere to go with a football, even if he wanted to pitch it.
Yeah, Devontae Lampkin just gobbled him up. Come under a minute. Quick little pitch and catch. That's Keegan Brewer. And that's going to do it. Oklahoma remains unbeaten in the Big 12, 5-0 for the first time since 2004. Bob Stoops now 12-0 against Kansas as head coach of OU. And the Sooners continue to roll. 56-3 is your final. Brian Custer, Petros Papadakis, and the rest of us here at Fox Sports 1. Right now, I'll send you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles for more college football coverage.